Hello again, fourth grade RPS students. Welcome back to day 2 of week 5 of RPS at Home for Language Arts. Again, my name is Mrs. Vasquez, and I will be teaching you guys this week. All right, so let's review what we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, we talked about alliteration and rhyming in a poem. We filled in a chart with a definition of those two, and remember, alliteration is when two or more words that are grouped together start with the same sound. Okay? We also talked about rhyming, and rhyming are words that sound the same at the end. Cat, hat, splat. All right? We started our chart today. So if you don't have this out, go ahead and grab that real quick. And we also read a poem and found examples of alliteration and rhyming in those poems. So again, you should have your chart, and it should be filled in with alliteration, the definition and an example, and rhyming with the definition and an example. And today we have 2 more we're going to add to this chart. Okay, let's talk about our agenda today, the order of things we're going to be doing things. So again, we are on week 5, day 2 of RPS at Home. So today I'm going to be introducing you to your new Icann statement. We'll be learning some new vocabulary. This is vocabulary that's specific to poetry. It is also vocabulary that is specific to the poem that we're going to be reading today. Then we will read our poem, The Great Woolly Bear Hunt, and discuss this new vocabulary that we've learned. We will review, and then you have some independent practice to do on Common Lit. Okay, so again, for today, you will need your chart that we started yesterday, and also go back to the RPS at Home page and pull up the poem for today on Common Lit, which is The Great Woolly Bear Hunt. So go ahead and pause and pull that up. And if you choose not to pull it up, that is fine. You just need to follow along carefully. I'm going to have it on my screen, but sometimes it helps to have it on your screen as well. All right, so let's talk about our Icann statement for today. Today, our learning goal is to be able to identify and describe rhythm and onomatopoeia words in a poem. Okay, again, we will be learning to identify and describe rhythm and onomatopoeia words in a poem. Let's go ahead and get out our charts, and let's fill in the definitions of those 2 words. So onomatopoeia, a fun word to say, also has a fun meaning. Onomatopoeia are words whose sounds matches its meaning. And 2 examples of that are words like splat and buzz. So when you hear the word splat, it's actually something going splat. The sound is the same thing as what it's doing. And then our other word, rhythm, is the beat of a poem. Remember, we talked about poems and songs being very similar. And every song has a beat to it. Okay, poems do too. So go ahead and pause the video and fill in these 2 definitions on our chart. Again, yours should be filled in up here from yesterday. Mine is not, but yours needs to be. And then go ahead and fill in your 2 new definitions for today. All right, let's talk about our vocabulary that we will find in our poem today. You don't need to write down these words or definitions. They're just words that you need to keep in the back of your mind while we're reading the poem so you understand it better. So some of the words we'll find in our poem. The first one is lair. A lair is a secret passage or a private place. Sometimes you'll hear about the villain in a movie, a superhero movie, having a lair, right? It's a secret place. Sometimes it's underground. Our next word is sift, and that is to look through carefully. Then we have hesitate, which is to pause before doing or saying something. Then we have hibernate, which is a word we hear a lot in science too, to spend the winter in a resting state. So again, you don't need to write down those words, just keep the meaning in the back of your mind. So when we are reading our poem today, it makes more sense. All right, so speaking of our poem, let's get started. Go ahead and, if you have it, pull up your Common Lit poem for today. Again, the title is The Great Woolly Bear Hunt, and it is by Craig W. Steele. As we are reading our poem today, remember, we are keeping in the back of our mind rhythm, so listen for the rhythm in the poem. This is where good fluency comes into play, so knowing when to do those pauses and knowing when to do those stops. So remember, we stop, take a breath at punctuation like periods and question marks. And we're going to pause at commas and hyphens in a poem. All right, so we're going to be listening for the rhythm while I read or while you read to yourself. We're also going to be looking for onomatopoeia words, those words that mean the same as they sound. All right, so let's get started. The Great Woolly Bear Hunt by Craig W. Steele. My mom and I are on a hunt to find a woolly bear. We look in trees, under rocks, while searching for its lair. We check my sandbox, both my swings and underneath my slide, then peek beneath the back porch steps. Where do these woolies hide? We sift through piles of crunchy leaves in autumn's chilly breeze and search around each lilac bush while crawling on our knees. When I think I hear a growl, I jump and holler, "Eek!" Mom smiles and says, "That's just the wind. A woolly bear can't speak." And though we call them woolly bears, they are not bears at all, but fuzzy wuzzy caterpillars that show up in the fall. At last I spot one in the grass with orange and black striped fur. I pick it up to pat its head. I think I hear a purr. Back on the ground it crawls away and doesn't hesitate to curl up tight beneath a bush, prepared to hibernate. That bear will sleep through winter's freeze, then spin a silk cocoon and turn into a tiger moth beneath a springtime moon. So that was our poem today. I hope you listened for the rhythm in the poem. A lot of times the rhythm will have to do with the amount of syllables in the words in the line. So let's go back to stanza 1. Remember, our stanza is a group of lines, kind of like a paragraph when we're reading books or stories. So stanza 1, let's listen to the rhythm of it, the beat of it. My mom and I are on a hunt to find a woolly bear. We look in trees and under rocks while searching for its lair. So you should be able to hear the beat as I'm reading. Let's go to stanza 3 and listen again for the rhythm. We sift through piles of crunchy leaves in autumn's chilly breeze and search around each lilac bush while crawling on our knees. The rhythm of stanza 3 should have sounded a lot like the rhythm of stanza 1. A lot of time poems will continue a rhythm throughout the poem. I want you to pause the video and pick a stanza to read to yourself and figure out the rhythm in your head. So go ahead and pause and do that. All right, next let's talk about onomatopoeia. Those are those fun words that sound, they have the same meaning as their sound. There is one in this poem that I can see, and that is the word purr. Its meaning is the same thing as its sound. So to purr, if you hear it, a lot of times we'll describe a cat as making a purr sound. Its sound matches its meaning. And I think that was the only example of purr in there. So let's go back to our chart. Again, you can either use the examples from our poem, or you can come up with your own examples for rhythm and onomatopoeia. Remember, with rhythm, if you want something to have a certain rhythm, you got to have that punctuation in there that tells someone to stop or pause. So go ahead and pause the video and fill in examples. They can either, again, be your own examples, or you can pull back up the poem for today and fill in the examples from the poem. So go ahead and pause and do that. All right, so let's review what we talked about today. Today we learned about our Icann statement was to be able to define and give examples of rhyming and onomatopoeia, and we were able to do that on our chart as well as in the poem we read today. After this video, I want you to go back and do the independent practice I have assigned you. It is another poem on Common Lit, and go ahead and give the guided, the questions a try that are on there as well. Okay, tomorrow we will be working with poetry again. We'll be learning 2 new poetic devices for our chart. So come back tomorrow and I will see you then. Bye.